Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of The Jamie Hughes Show. My name as always is Jamie Hughes and today I'm going to be giving you my review of It. Now if this is your first time here and you want to keep up to date with all my latest movie news and reviews, then make sure you hit that subscribe button. And as always with my videos, this review may include spoilers, so you have now been warned. And I'm going to start this review off with a spoiler. This is your spoiler, another spoiler warning here, because I'm going to start this review off with a spoiler. So if you guys are still sticking around and you haven't seen it, then I'm about to spoil something huge for you. So at the end of this movie, the movie has ended, a title card comes up saying It, and then the words Chapter 1 scroll on screen, which is obviously awesome news for people that really enjoyed this movie like me, because it means this is the beginning of an It franchise and we will be getting more It movies. I don't know how many we're going to be getting. I would like to see this movie based on the trilogy, but we are getting more It movies, so it kind of changes my perception on this review, because this is not a film I can just review start, middle to end now. It's the beginning of something, and I have to take this movie as just the beginning of something, if that makes any sort of sense. So as I said, I really enjoyed this movie. I really enjoyed the story. It felt very reminiscent of old 80s movies, which was really cool, like The Goonies, Stand By Me. Yeah, it felt basically like a John Hughes coming-of-age movie with just like a killer clown thrown in for good measure. Say, really great collection of characters to drive this story forward. I was a little apprehensive at first, like, because there was so many kids in this movie. I think, like, the main cast comes to about 7 or 8. A lot of those characters could have been left by the wayside, but one of the cool ways that they did this and made everybody an integral part of the movie was that they were all introduced to It individually, and I thought that was a really cool way of doing it, where It basically became their worst fears, and we got to see that, and it was just really cool. It was really great because it gave like another dimension to this movie, the fact that we could connect with each character. We knew what each character's fear was, and we could kind of get a deeper sense of their character because of that. And that was a really cool thing to see, because as I said, a lot of these characters could have fell by the wayside, but because we were instantly connected with them, it really drove my investment, and it drove the story forward, I felt, as well, because we were kind of just waiting to see their fears crop up once again and get revealed to everybody. So as I said, I enjoyed this movie for the story. I didn't actually enjoy any of the horror in this movie. It sounds really bad, but I kind of found that horror unnecessary in this movie. It didn't really scare me. I mean, there was points where you could feel like the horror building, and I felt a little bit of anticipation, but overall this movie like didn't really scare me. And this is kind of a negative thing. I want to bring it up because it's probably partially more my fault than the movie's fault, but if you watch this movie back, they basically use every bit of jump scare or scary bit of the movie is used at some point within 1 or 2 trailers that they released in this movie. So I kind of felt like I saw a lot of this stuff coming, and I was just anticipating that more than having fresh scares, which was kind of a bit like, it was a bit deflating, because there wasn't a lot of things that I hadn't already seen from the trailers that were included in this movie. So yeah, I think that's kind of on me more than it, but that's why that's why I kind of felt like the horror didn't really work for me in this movie. The bits that they didn't use in the movie were in the trailer, that they used in the movie, they were very well hidden. I really liked the fact that they didn't really use any of the last half an hour in any of the trailers, because I felt like that was a really great bit of the movie and a great bit of the story, because it drove a lot of the story forward. As I said, looking back, you can see how that is building towards a sequel and possibly a third movie, and it really brought all the characters together. And that's what I kind of felt like this movie was all about, was bringing everybody together to face their fears, and that's what they did in the end of this movie. So I'm not being overly negative about the horror in this movie. I just think I had a sort of personal disconnect towards all the jump scares and stuff, because as I said, I saw them coming. But one of the things that this movie did really well, and it is a huge positive for this movie, and going forward it would be what I would want to see this movie take itself in that direction, is they used a lot of psychological horror really well, and especially in that in the film's final act, that was implemented a lot in this movie, and it was implemented really well. It was almost like they kind of just turned the movie a little bit, and a different side of it came out, and a different side of each character came out, and a different side of the story came out, and that was really cool that they changed it up a little bit, and it felt really fresh and innovative and like oddly a little bit unnerving. As I said, it wasn't the actual jump scares that kind of scared me in this movie, it was the unnerviness of the Pennywise character, which is what I want to see him capitalize on and take going forward. Because, not to be overly negative again, I thought Bill Skarsgård was great as Pennywise. I thought, as I said, he brought this really eerie charisma to the character, but I just didn't like the way Pennywise was portrayed in points. When it was Bill Skarsgård doing the physical stuff and the speaking, then that was really well done, and I say that was very unnerving. But they kind of used quite a bit of CGI with Pennywise, and it just kind of, again, fell flat a little bit, the horror, because it kind of felt a little bit rubbery, and they used this really horrible angle where it looked like Pennywise was holding the camera while he was running at people, and it just didn't really work, to be honest with you. But I'm not shitting on this movie, because I loved it, and I loved how it was a very different spin on the horror genre. As I said, it for me, it kind of took away all of the physical, over-the-top jump scares, but there was a lot of psychological stuff in there that really made you think and kind of like buried deep a little bit inside you, and really made you think as I came out of the cinema. It was just kind of the actual physical horror that was lacking for me. But I really enjoyed this movie. Great story, great start to an It franchise. Really, really looking forward to seeing what direction they carry on going with this movie. And if you guys have seen it, then let me know what you thought about it down in the comments below. And as always, if you enjoyed this video, then why not give it a like, and why not subscribe, because you'd be helping me out massively, and you can keep up to date with all my latest movie news and reviews. And I will see you in the very next episode of The Jamie Hughes Show. Ta-ra!